Hello there guys, what is going on? Son of Chelsea back here again for my rational perspective on Chelsea nil, Sevilla nil. Chelsea starting their Champions League group stage with a point and a clean sheet, which is a rarity under Frank Lampard. I think coming away from that game, it was tense, it was nervy, it was cagey. I think in terms of a Chelsea perspective, there will be that frustration that at home we didn't create a lot of opportunities. Unlike Saturday, sort of our attacking intent was very much halted tonight and very much nullified, which was a frustration for different reasons. But I think defensively, you have to be encouraged by what we saw tonight. Of course, it's only one game, but I think based on the level of the opposition, based on certain players coming back into the team, I think it was quite impressive. And I think you have to be encouraged with that defensive solidity. I think the issue for Frank Lampard is balance. Once again, this word we continue to use for Chelsea. And it's the balance between our attacking instincts and intent, but also with defensive solidity. And hopefully seeing personnel more consistently now being fit and seeing our best players out there fit, hopefully will rectify some of that. But I think there are positives and a few negatives tonight. But I think you have to be encouraged with a clean sheet for Chelsea because that's a rarity nowadays. Going into the team lineup, Edouard Mendy, it was reported widely today that he would be in the squad. He started the game. Sort of the surprise to me was Reece James back in the starting lineup. That back four of James, Zouma, Thiago Silva, Chilwell, encouraged by that, which meant that Jorginho was the captain, staying alongside N'Golo Kante in that pivot, and Mason Mount started two on the left instead of the right, which of course Christian Pulisic started again, and the team was the same for the rest based on Saturday's game against Southampton. I think you have to firstly, and I want to state this across my review really, I think you may have frustration with Chelsea's lack of sort of attacking spark tonight, in terms of moving forward in comparison to Saturday's game, which was quite exhilarating in the first half. You have to give credit to Sevilla. They are an impressive European side. I think there is this sense of English entitlement that a team, especially a European side in the Champions League, based on maybe previous years where a team like Sevilla would come to the Bridge when we had JT, Didier, Frank in the team, and we rolled them over. Not the case anymore. And that's not only because, Chelsea are not the team they were in the past, but also I think, Sevilla have massively improved and they're so impressive. And I think because they're not one of the top European names, the historic European names, I think people just dismiss them. But they are so well drilled under Julian Lopetegui in that 4-3-3. They know what they're doing. In possession, they're so impressive. Their press is so cohesive and well drilled. And Chelsea needed to be at their best, not only sort of in open play, but also at set pieces because they do have that aerial threat. And I felt Chelsea, that's a positive. I think Chelsea dealt really well on set pieces tonight generally. So I think that needs to be a plus too. But I think the positives for me, sort of positive performances to take away from a 0-0 draw, of course, are all defensively for Chelsea. Firstly, Edouard Mendy being back in that goal. I think it just gives us that dominance and reassurance. And he made a brilliant save in the first half. It was a great reaction save. The first time you saw it with a lot of bodies, you didn't really know how good of a save it was. You knew he sort of cleared it. On the replay, it looked so good, unbalanced. Being able to get that much power whilst sort of falling backwards to tip the ball away, and not only just away from the goal, away from danger completely. Very impressive by Mendy, and he just adds that assurance. And there was a moment at the end of the first half, a low shot that I think, you'd expect most keepers to save, but based on our issues with goalkeepers recently, I think that was impressive. And I think all round as well, distribution, I don't think was too bad from Mendy today in terms of diagonal balls out to say Reece James and Ben Chilwell. I think was quite impressive at times. So I think Mendy, once again, what is it in terms of his first 3 appearances for Chelsea? He's got 2 clean sheets already against Crystal Palace and tonight. So that's impressive. Thiago Silva being back. There was a little bit of concern before the game in terms of injury, but he looked brilliant once again tonight. Really assured. I know he had a mistake in the first half, but really other than that, class, pedigree, so calm and composed on the ball. There's many times where even in a tight space, he's sort of there and you think he could lump the ball up, but sometimes he'll take a little bit, a further second to compose himself and then pass the ball potentially to, say, Reece James on that side. And I thought at times he was really leading in that sense of pushing the team up at certain points, telling Mendy to hit the ball long. My only issue with that, and we'll come to that in terms of the creative issues tonight, was when we hit the ball long, there wasn't much to stick up there, and that was a problem for Chelsea throughout the game. I think for me, third top performer tonight was Ben Chilwell. I actually think Ben Chilwell was man of the match. He just looks so good. He is just offering, and I think tonight you saw less the offensive side because he had little chance tonight to get into the offensive area and sort of do what he does best there, like we saw on Saturday. Tonight it was more about defensive solidity and intelligence and acceleration back there, which we've lacked from Marcos Alonso and Emerson. Also positional awareness. There was a moment late on in the game where Zouma Zuma made a mistake, and Chilwell did so well to get back, cover for Zuma, and I think it rolled out for a goal kick in the end. I think Chilwell was so impressive. He, with the exception, I think, one stray pass where he could have potentially started an attack for Chelsea. Other than that, I think he had a faultless performance tonight. Once again, he looks so far out of all the signings, and this may be harsh to other signings, I think he looks the most sort of settled, and I think that's down to him being in the Premier League before. He understands the league, but I think tonight looked absolute class, and once again, so impressive for Chelsea, giving us what we need at left back. I think there was that frustration in terms of creatively not being able to get the ball up to our best attackers. Firstly, seeing Mount on the left and Pulisic on the right, I just don't think it worked. And it was a big frustration to me that right at the start of the second half, where Pulisic had sort of been isolated altogether in that first half, in that second half, Pulisic instantly goes on the left and goes on a run at the fullback and gets a corner, I think, for Chelsea at the start of the half, which I think Zuma got a decent header from the following corner from Chilwell. And you're like, okay, this is where Pulisic should be for the rest of this game. And that wasn't the case instantly. Pretty much after that bit of encouragement at the start of the second half, they switched again, and it really did isolate Pulisic. Luckily, Ziyech came on the pitch, and then, of course, Pulisic shifted over to the left, but Chelsea weren't able to get the ball to him enough. And I think that moving forward, I don't mind Mount at times being a versatile player, but he either looks shattered, he looks isolated there, and I think that Chelsea lacks something, not having Pulisic in his favoured position, which we saw at times tonight. I want to see that moving forward. If Christian Pulisic is starting a game, he has to be on the left for me moving forward. That is absolutely key. And as Ziyech gets back to full fitness, I think we'll see that soon, to be honest. And I think that was also an issue with central midfield, sort of that balance between defensive solidity in midfield, between Jorginho and Kante. And of course, Georgie getting that yellow card very early on, there was that concern he was going to get a red. That really didn't happen. Jorginho actually didn't get overrun and isolated in this game at all. And I think that was us sitting a little bit deeper, being a little bit more cautious. But the issue with that was not really having that connector player, or not being intelligent enough other than hitting it long to get the ball to Kai Havertz, to get the ball to Timo Werner, Hakim Ziyech later on in the game, Mason Mount, Christian Pulisic. That was Chelsea's issue. I think Cover, when he came on, added a little bit of that, and I think Cover looked really sharp when he came on the pitch, to be honest, and was offering something we didn't have before in terms of being that connector player, being that player to beat a man and really accelerate through the middle of the pitch. But unfortunately, we just did not have that enough throughout the game for me to really make more opportunities. I think overall, you look at the XG, it's very low for both sides. I think it's a fair result. I think, Sevilla had more of the clear-cut opportunities. Of course, Mendy in the first half making that brilliant save overall, but I think I think you have to be satisfied with Chelsea's defensive resilience. That is something Lampard would want. I think having that 4 out of the back 5 from Crystal Palace, who kept a clean sheet, keeping a clean sheet tonight, I think that's really impressive. Hopefully Lampard has the players, in terms of fitness, to go again with that back 4 or back 5, whether Dave comes back into the team for the weekend at Man United. Stick with that. We want to see that consistency now, and I think that's a positive as well. I think Ben Chilwell looking like the player we hoped he would be already at Chelsea, so settled. I just think moving forward now, hopefully seeing Pulisic in his best position, Ziyech a bit more on that right, and Timo unfortunately just couldn't get the ball up to him enough tonight to really make an impact, and I think it was the same with Kai, to be honest. So we move on. I don't think it's the worst result, comparison to last year. We lost the first game to Valencia, and I think, you look at next week, Krasnodar, Chelsea, absolutely going out there to win that game and really get a foothold in this group, because it's going to be between us and Sevilla. It's going to be very tight. No mugs in the Champions League anymore, and that's obvious, but I think Sevilla were really impressive, and I think it's going to be a difficult sort of test to get in front of them in the group stage this year. But those are my thoughts on the game. Please let me know yours in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch this video. If you did enjoy it, hit that subscribe button and a notification bell so you never miss an upload. Follow me on Twitter @SonofChelsea, and I'll see you again.